With all eyes on Israel and Gaza, the world has seemingly forgotten about the ongoing war in Ukraine. At the onset of the Russian invasion, the Israeli government and numerous NGOs dispatched humanitarian delegations to the war-torn country. One of them is Lev Echad, that's One Heart in Hebrew. It's a Jerusalem-based aid organization that sent some 30 delegations to Ukraine, consisting of doctors and medicine, humanitarian aid, supplies, as well as professionals to counsel women and children suffering from trauma. Well, now Ukrainian volunteers from Lev Echad's sister association that was set up in Ukraine, One Heart Ukraine, are returning the favor. They have arrived here in Israel to help Israeli civilians who have been affected by the war. And joining me here in studio is Shir Diner, she's the CEO of One Heart, and Rostyk Kubik, who's the chief of staff of One Heart's sister association in Ukraine. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
Rostyk, tell me a little bit about the work that you've been doing here in Israel.
Well, since I came in Israel, it was a week ago, and mainly besides the meeting and trying to understand of organizing the work that we can actually do here while being volunteers. We also went to the farms to help farmers around Israel and see how the farmers are doing, as well as also we were trying to create this bridge in between Ukrainian part of Lev Echad and then the Israeli part of Lev Echad to bring more people from Ukraine having experience and sharing experience in terms of how to deal with things that we dealt with back in Ukraine for more than a year and a half now.
And you surely both understand each other maybe a little bit better now. It's pretty incredible. You left a war zone to come to another war zone. That must not have been an easy decision to make.
Honestly, I think there's two reasons to it. First one is One Heart is an organization from people and for people. And this is something to keep in mind, and it's important that it's a will of heart, right? There's something good that you can do, even small step by step, and make this world a bit better place. And then the second one, I remember at the beginning of the full-scale invasion when Israeli part of Lev Echad came to Ukraine and actually organized delegations helping refugees with doctors and PTSD treatment for other people affected by war. And I remember this strong feeling of not being alone, you know, and I think it's important to understand that during war, people are not alone, you're not isolated, and there are people who support, and there are people who can and want to help.
Absolutely, and surely now the Ukrainian experience of war and the Israeli experience, you guys have a lot more in common now.
Yes, absolutely. I think now after the war started, we told Rostyk and our other friends and partners in Ukraine that we understand them right now much more, and it is more than heartwarming to see how many friends we have around the world, even now when the media and everything around. I think the Israeli nation feels a little bit lonely right now,
yeah,
in front of the big world, and it's more than heartwarming to see that we have friends and we have support and we are not alone, especially after everything we've been through together, that we have done for the Ukrainian people without knowing what will come next.
And Rostyk, before when we were on break, you mentioned that Israel is on its 60th day of the war, but Ukraine is on its 600th day of the war, and the world has forgotten about it.
Well, honestly, we still keep on fighting. The war is still present in Ukraine. You can still feel it. Eventually, life tries to come back to normal, and people try to live their own life. It's just important to I think understand what you're fighting for, and then war doesn't disappear in your own day-to-day life. If you look at the media, yes, you know, we can all of us can agree that Ukraine is gradually moving away from the media resources, but in terms of spirit and will of people that are against this war and fighting this war and solving the problems caused by this war, it is still present.
Tell me, how has the war here in Israel been perceived in Ukraine?
Honestly, since Ukrainians have their own war, we have our own enemy to deal with.
Right.
Since I think it was October 8th, our government and the president had a speech supporting Israel, and after that there was even negotiations of our president Volodymyr Zelensky coming to Israel as well, but that was cancelled and moved again. So unfortunately, it didn't really happen in terms of country-to-country relationships. But in general, I think there's a great support of Israel's side from Ukrainians, because Ukrainians are fighting evil, and I think Israel is on the same side as well.
You mentioned earlier that some of the work that your organization does is treating people with trauma and post-trauma, including women and children. Tell me a little bit about how you guys deal with that. How do you treat those people that are suffering?
I think Shir would probably have more expertise in that.
I think we came to Ukraine with a goal to teach them how to deal with war, with the civil effects of a war, as almost the only Western country that is in a constant military threat. And I think right now we see that we have a lot to learn from Ukraine. To see them coming here, it gives us a lot of inspiration. And we basically, in the past year and a half, we've sent delegations of experts from Israel in the field, in many fields, but especially in the field of psychology and PTSD treating, to teach and guide and supervise the psychologists and the psychiatrists and the doctors and all the professionals, relevant professionals in Ukraine, to help them and to teach them how to deal with the effects of this kind of full-scale war.
It's really beautiful to see volunteers that went and helped another country, and now that country returning the favor. Thank you both for joining me in studio today. Really amazing work.
Thank you very much.